This video is quite brusque. It's not intended for anyone. There's foul language. It's awful.
Your laptop screen just burst into flame. I apologize.
Did you reply to a YouTube comment like, do you have to be hideous to work at Corsair?
Yes! That was badass. That was great. What video was that? It was me? That was on one of my videos, right? No. It was me and it was the rapid fire video that George Lampert did.
Yeah.
And it was like 6 of us all in a room, and the guy goes, "Do you have to be hideously ugly to work at Corsair or what?" And I said, "No."
Wow. No, I walked into some kind of really dumb Twitch party in.
As opposed to.
Well, no. As opposed to a less as opposed to an official one, which is still dumb.
George is bringing his A game. He's just ramping.
And you guys float him across the plate like that.
I'm trying, man. I'm just telling the damn story.
Why aren't we recording yet?
We are.
It is.
I apologize, Twitch.
Just come in with this.
We love the color.
That was the intro. Yeah. We did the intro.
Ever since Yahoo loved purple.
I worked at this party and this guy was on, he was periscoping and he sees me and I'm wearing this like long jacket.
It just gets worse and worse, doesn't it?
Yeah. I was just like, what the hell's going on? So he gets up and comes over and like points the camera and he's like, look at this guy, I walked into our little party. I'm like, hi. Somewhere in the comments, some guy's like, holy crap, that's Kane from Tech Syndicate. Every other comment was like, he looks like a child molester. He looks like a rapist. You should probably not let him in the house. What's going on? Yeah, what's going on with him? Somebody else said something like, look like a Satanist. I mean,
You like that one.
Nice.
You like that one.
no, that one I totally
Right.
get, because
Yeah.
when I'm walking around Taiwan and some random person in a night market goes, you, way over there, get over
This
here.
shirt, okay. This shirt.
You need to buy this shirt.
So yeah, some random lady just like yells at him from across the crowd and says, "Come buy my shirt." I was like, "Great marketing," because he's like, "What does it say?" And she goes, "Evil." And he's like, "Damn it, you got me! You got me! I gotta buy this damn shirt."
I mean, that's nice because we all worship the Dark Lord.
The dollar.
I had dinner with him
one?
last week. Yeah, which one?
Which
I had
one?
dinner with
Yeah.
him last week.
Yeah. Did he make you buy again?
Yeah, he usually does.
You're watching the tech.
It's his restaurant.
Welcome to Tech, brought to
All
you
right,
by
you know-
Corsair and Satan.
That's going in the.
Which I would like to affirm are not the same thing.
Brought to you by
Here,
the letters C
we do not
and F.
employ Satan.
I thought Satan was Thermaltech. We've established that already.
Oh, that was last year. That was last year.
Shannon. You know it's true.
Shannon is not Satan. Shannon is not Satan. I know
Shannon.
that much. Satan is red and Shannon's kind of pinkish.
Yeah, he's. These gases are come off. Wow.
Those are sentences.
So welcome to the tech.
All right, so what's up? You know what? Introduce yourselves. I don't want to do any work. Let's go around the table with all the Corsair guys, starting with Harry.
Whoa.
No, go.
It's actually an adjective, really. It's not his name.
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, do I look in the camera or what? No.
But, introduce yourself to the kids out there.
Yeah, that guy
Hi
right
kids.
Well,
I'm
actually,
Harry.
they're a lot of adults actually.
there. We know that, but what's
Yeah,
your
we
name?
know. We know.
You know how sad it is that adults watch this?
You should actually
Just get
be forced
put
to
a box
use.
of Captain Crunch
So
here
you
and get
should
some
be
product
forced. You
placement.
should be forced to use your full business card title.
Yes.
That's so lame.
I know. That's why we should be forced to use it.
Oh, fine.
We'll be out of time by the time this is over.
Yeah.
I'm Harry Butler, Senior Manager of Public Relations at Corsair.
Breaker of chains, mother of dragons.
All right, I guess George, we're going this way.
I'm George Makris. I am the Director of Marketing for -DIY and Components.
You have to go to the back of the business card.
I know. It does, right?
Wraps around. Yeah.
We need some of these titles.
Mine just says Supreme Commander.
I wanted that. So
Forged
bad.
Alliance.
Whoa.
I'm too cool for a title. I just got my name on it. No last
Do
name.
your thing.
Oh yeah.
Tell them who you are.
I'm Michael Gray, Senior Product Line Manager for HID.
HID is?
Human Interface Devices.
AKA
So peripherals.
Otherwise known as products that have not yet been developed.
Well, the keyboards,
Well,
mice.
it's a bit of a mix. It's products in development as well as some Halo products in existing peripheral business.
What-
that we
what-
have at
what
Those,
Corsair.
that was a lot of buzzwords.
Wouldn't
It wraps around the business card
Yeah,
again.
it was-
Yeah.
wouldn't products in development be a
fucking scroll.
PID, not a HID?
Ooh.
Ooh. Well
We're gonna get
played.
pedantic.
He's
This
working.
early?
He's working.
All right.
Just wondering-
I
Head of
While we're
SE
using all of these
PID
acronyms,
PM for HID.
Wow.
There you go.
Jesus
All right, now start off by saying a little thanks to Corsair. Last week, Kane and I made a video about failing to find good beer in Taiwan, so I want to thank these guys for bringing us some good beer. Drinking a Habanero Sculpin. We got another IPA here from
Yeah, I'm not
Shoots.
drinking that one.
Pine Drops IPA. Got some Kentucky, all the way from Kentucky.
Oh wait, right
Bourbon
there.
barrel
Can you
ale.
hand me that one?
The strawberry.
I have the finest classic Taiwan beer.
Mike has the worst beer in the world.
This was given to me.
That is better than.
It's Taipei Coors Light.
It was afforded by my seniority.
Really.
It's the Coors Light of Taipei.
That's you can tell how important somebody is by the quality of the beer in front of them. And he's drinking water, so no. Burn.
That's from Watson's, though.
Yeah, that's not mine.
Okay, I'm
It
drinking
was
it.
actually supposed to be for refilling systems that got shipped from the United States.
You don't get to talk. You're not on the camera person back there.
Yeah, they
Michael,
can't
pick
even hear you.
All right, so in case you guys haven't figured it out, this is going to be an awful episode.
It's is it going to be worse or better than the 6th worst one that we did the other day?
I think it'll be the 7th worst. I don't think it'll be that bad.
Worst episode ever.
Cool, I beat
6,
this one.
7.
That's all I'm saying.
We'll
Yeah.
do good.
So, first off, we're going to start by talking about some of the new products you guys have, then just joke around a little bit about Corsair, not in a bad way, and just talk about what you guys have done over the years.
Brilliant.
So,
Challenge accepted.
Throwing down.
tell me what you guys are the most excited about as far as the new products this year and why, and then we'll
We
go
now
back
have
and
a
forth about
USB
it.
3.0 padlock drive. I'm pretty stoked about that.
How did I
So
miss
there's
that?
a whole team of people that work very hard to
I
put
know.
that together.
I was giving you a hard time because you were the one who was like, "Do we really need to have a press release?"
He didn't even show us that at the booth. I mean,
Yeah, it was
you guys
like-
paid for it to come out here. You didn't even show me the padlock.
It is. So there is. To be fair, USB 3 is something that should be on every USB drive ever now at this point. Like using USB 2.
Of all our launches this week, you picked the padlock.
Well, that's
to
the one
lead-
that I
to
wanted
lead
to
off
start
on.
with. Yeah, because it's a faster padlock drive.
Okay.
It's got little-
Everyone is on the edge of their seat right now.
I know.
Like,
Look
what's
it
a
up.
padlock?
Google it. It's like
like-
it's got little buttons that make it secure. It works on everything. It doesn't have software.
Exclusive fans with magnetic levitation
we'll
bearings,
get
a
to that.
GTX
That's the sexy
1080, new DRAM. No,
It's
you go
in
straight to
liquid
the flash
cooled
drive.
GTX 1080, the Hydro
Maybe
GFX.
we should just take a
MSI
step out and
software.
let these guys go at it, because I think this would be hilarious. I will sit over there and watch this.
Just stand there and make sure he doesn't come across the table at me because he's getting there. He's
Yeah.
on his way.
Yeah, it's
It's very British of him, that's all I'm saying.
No,
we
I
go from here to there.
yeah. So he's right. We do have magnetic levitation fans, ML series fans, which are badass.
Now, how quiet are those? I mean, we
In fact, we're running a full blast right now.
is that one over there right now?
No, they're in the Hyatt, but
We can't hear them. That's pretty good.
How many kilometers?
They're a few miles away.
yeah, it's about 7 kilometers from here.
Yeah.
But no,
Silent from 7 kilometers.
Yeah, silence.
you barely
You're
know
getting
they're
notes.
on.
Hold on, you're getting notes over there.
See, that's it.
Yeah.
The future of silent PCs are long cables.
Long cables.
No, that's how you've been solving this for
Well,
a while.
it's
Like,
like-
what do you do with it? Oh, I'm going to put
They
it
just
over there.
He's making notes. No, I get royalties.
That's it. Like I think Mel Brooks said, like comedy is tragedy plus distance. So like,
So are fans?
Silence is performance plus distance.
It's the
Yeah,
same
well,
thing.
time is distance, man.
You
It's
wouldn't
space
believe
time.
how quiet this jet engine is from 300
We're talking
kilometers.
4 dimensions, man.
That same thing is true with relationships.
Yeah, exactly. All these old relationships that hurt so much at the time seem funny now, in retrospect. In a sad, funny way.
I'm getting sullen.
It's sad
So-
clown.
Let's change the subject.
Make sure I get this correct. All of your server fans that they're put in the data center because they're the quietest fans ever. Is that what you're saying?
I would
He
say
gets it.
so.
One guy
So
who's not even
yeah.
here. He's over
So
there.
server data center fans do typically, a lot of them do use things like magnetic levitation or double bearing, things like that. So the guys who are making the contract manufacturer that makes these fans for us sells literally millions of fans. And the magnetic levitation technology is not a new thing for them. They've been doing this for years. It's just the first time a customer has been able to buy them as an end user for an enthusiast product. So yeah, if you went and bought 10,000 fans on an OEM buy and said, hey, I've got a data center I'm building in Kyrgyzstan, like I mentioned earlier, then
I told you it was Stan. You're offending so many.
Kyrgyzstan,
You're offending so many
then you
non-existent
could
people.
conceivably buy these fans or similar fans from a performance perspective. But when we dealt with these guys, we said, look, we want to take this to enthusiasts. And for them, that was interesting. because
Actual
they've
end
never-
users, rather
Actual
than-
end users, retail, which they don't deal with.
Right.
So
Because there's no margins.
Well, there are, surprisingly.
I'm joking. That's where all the margins are.
Yeah, the volume actually. So I think the trick was
There's no volume.
they kind of felt like there was, we can sell 150,000 fans a week to Dell or 150,000 a week to Google for a data center, or we can sell Corsair like a fraction of that. I mean it's not like a 1/100th fraction, but it's a fraction.
Yep.
Also, I like the RGB fans. I think these might be the good ones because they had it hooked up. Did you see the RGB fans over there?
I saw them. They were.
Now-
I was very, very busy playing Overwatch on the Lapdog because that thing really kind of just consumes my mind right now.
Yeah, so I'll get to the Lapdog. I mean, we got to get one of those for the office.
I don't have
for
enough.
Sure.
I don't have enough space in my luggage. So guys, you're gonna have to help me out with that.
Yeah.
just saying.
Well, we have them in warehouses. We can ship them to you.
Oh, good.
That's a new thing they're
Can you
doing.
ship
I know we've been
But I-
shipping things. Yes, we
Brand
can.
new.
Yeah.
I can actually make that happen while we're filming this, which
Yeah.
is like that.
He can pull out his phone or laptop and request that it go to your house directly.
We said
from here.
Lapdog. We said Lapdog.
Lapdog.
I'm going to do this right now.
Well,
So,
I guess
You
it's
just,
happened.
So
I guess
wait,
this
hold
is
on.
happening.
They make
Let's
8 million fans in 1 week. It's like he wrote this stuff.
Yeah,
down.
so
And
the
the only
vendor-
thing I can think of is, isn't that what like those guys that keep trying to sell me crap for Twitch and like
Yes.
we'll sell you fans?
Are you an
for your Twitch
influencer
account?
yet?
Not yet. No, I don't influence anybody. Anybody actually listens to me? I
You
don't know what the hell's wrong
influenced
with them.
me, my friend.
You're under the influence.
I am under the influence. I'm influenced.
So let
That
me
mean
go.
influencers with drugs?
Let me.
Yes.
That's the.
Well, it depends who's paying
All
for
of
it.
the
Only if
above.
someone else is.
So before we go too far, I wanted to. We talked about ML magnet levitation. The difference is like, okay, every electric motor has a magnet in it, right? That's kind of how electric motors work. But typically you have XY axis, so it doesn't like kind of go off center or leave the spindle. The Z axis is what's critical. So actually, instead of having the double ball bearing or a sleeve bearing or fluid dynamic bearing or a hydraulic bearing or a rifle bearing or any of the other kind of bearings that are out there, we actually have straight up magnetic levitation, so it levitates the impeller off the PCB when it's powered on. And so that way, all 3 axes, X, Y, Z, are kept in place by magnets, which reduces friction significantly, which means lower noise, longer lifespan, better performance with lower noise levels. So you don't have to worry about like hearing anything except for the actual airflow. You're not going to hear that bearing. And because these fans are PWM, you can have a huge wide range. You can go down to 400 RPM or up to 2400 RPM on the 120 millimeters.
Mm-hmm.
So those are pretty cool. I mean, this is my moment to be like the Corsair pitch guy, but those are the fans I'm putting in my personal system. So I honestly do that. And I can literally get any fan on the planet and put it in that system, and I would use these fans.
Would anyone know if you didn't use a Corsair fan?
No.
That's the question.
Nobody would know if I didn't.
No one would know.
Yeah, I could be lying to you, but I have no reason to because, I mean, I don't get, well, I guess I do get more.
I mean, would anyone at Corsair know? Would anyone at Corsair know and then throw you down a well or something?
Yeah, actually, someone would do that.
Yeah.
Someone would come to my house and be like, wait a minute, Because believe it or not, most of the people at Corsair, we actually kind of do occasionally hang out outside of work because most of us are not total jerks, so just semi-jerks. So, we have kind of jerk parties to get together and talk about how to be better jerks, and they come over and we see each other's PCs and stuff like that.
Oh, I thought the jerk party was something else. Where were we?
That's
those
what
are
we
no
call
thanks.
a conversation
Done.
killer.
But so you have a lapdog en route, by the way.
Excellent. That was
See,
mine.
thank you, Harry Butler.
No problem.
Let's go for the office.
The other fans that we announced this week, we talked about a little bit this week, were the RGB fans. So we have 2 versions of that. We actually would like to know which one you like more. I don't know if you guys have any stock
The
footage.
1 zone or the 12
Oh, yeah.
zone?
Yeah.
No, it's on the screen right now.
The
They're
stock
watching.
footage is on screen. Look
Just
at
to
this.
make sure I'm going to
Look
clap.
at this amazing stuff.
There, that's
we-
so I can see a spike to put it in here.
There's the SP120 LED, which has 4 LEDs and 1 zone of lighting, and then there's the HD120 RGB LED. RGB is definitely part of the product name,
It's
and
in
that has
fact,
12.
it's
That has the 12 individual fans that can be individually controlled.
12 individual
LEDs.
fans or 12
LEDs.
individual
Fan-
LEDs.
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 Yes.
Micro.
Maybe we should
We
start
took a
talking.
fan and we put more fans
More
on
fans.
the fan.
Yeah. It's
we
a
had
fanception.
Exhibit help us. Exhibit help us with that
We put
part.
little fans on
Yo,
each
dog.
blade.
Well,
We
that's
heard you like
fantastic.
fans. We put fans in your fans.
You guys are fanatics.
So now you can blow while you blow.
Whoa. You can go to the jerk party.
I just had to see how bad it was. I'm going back. All right. Which one?
12 fans
These
on
are-
a fan. I mean, there should be enough magnetic stuff there. We could build our own little mini hadron collider.
That's what
That's
we're
actually our secret world plan.
the cops are
Couldn't
gonna
you
be.
turn that into
21
like a-
years of, or 22 years of business has led to this moment.
For God's
We
sake,
can
don't
create
run it over 2200 RPM
Yeah,
and create a black hole.
a microscopic RGB hadron collider.
In Portland, they're worried about earthquakes and the volcano. Little do they know.
Corsair is about to end the universe.
We're gonna build it in our office.
Black hole, oops.
I'm going to say.
We'll announce that one on a press release.
Yeah, Corsair ends planet.
Last words. That's
Soon.
funny.
Yeah,
That's
guys
what
smell
happened with
something
the earthquake
burning?
earlier. Somebody turned it off in time.
yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, that was you guys, wasn't it? Earthquake. Yeah. So we had an earthquake.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. Was that yesterday? Or was that today?
That was yesterday.
That was yesterday. It all bleeds together to me. It's just all one big perpetual day.
Perpetual.
6.1. 6.8.
6.1.
6.1 here in the city.
It depends on where you look at the data. Like I looked at USGS and they were saying like one thing, and then you look at the Taipei news and they're saying another thing. And
Someone's
knows?
saying that basically in Taipei they have an earthquake alert system, so you know an earthquake's about to happen because every single person's phone gets a message instantaneously. So
Well,
it's
it
kind
depends
of
on how close you are to the epicenter. Because if you're closer to the epicenter,
Oh, yeah,
you
it-
experience
it's-
it. Oh,
it's
that was
too
an
late.
earthquake.
Yeah.
You're going to race the earthquake against the cell phone system.
Yeah.
It was pretty quick. Yeah, it was really weird because we're in NSI's booth and it pops up earthquake warning and he's like earthquake warning.
Oh,
And
no,
we're
no,
like,
no,
hey,
no, no.
Presidential
It got even
alert.
better.
Yeah, yeah,
It got
Chinese
even better. So
characters.
I've got
Yeah.
the Pebble. So my phone starts buzzing in my pocket. And I'm like, I'm not getting a notification. My phone will not ever buzz because I've got all notifications turned off. And I'm like, why is my phone buzzing? So I pull it out and it's just presidential alert and it's all in Mandarin. So I'm like, what does this mean? And
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And she's like, oh, it says something about an earthquake. And I'm like, earthquake? Womp, womp, womp. And I'm like, whoa, that's... Why you didn't have to turn the earthquake button on? I'm like, what?
They're like, has everyone received the notification? All right, turn on the earthquake.
the best part of that is you know that there's like people who live here who like experience earthquakes so frequently that they just get so frustrated. They're like, I can't believe I can't turn that stupid notification off. You know, like
Have to delete all those messages
exactly. Like,
every
look,
time.
if I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. Stop buzzing. Like, I'm just like, really frustrated with it.
That's the way it works.
That was pretty awesome, though. I hear you guys were on the 25th floor
We
now?
were
Yeah.
on the 25th
Yeah.
floor
Did you
of
guys
the
feel it?
Hyatt, and
Yeah,
we definitely
yeah.
felt it. Everyone on the booth stopped what they were doing, pulled a stupid face as their brain went, what is this? This is an earthquake. Oh shit, I'm on the 25th floor. How do I get down?
Yeah.
And then
So-
went,
See-
oh, it stopped. It's okay.
Well, the thing is, if you live in a place where there are earthquakes, like you know, I've lived in California for 20 years,
Yep.
and if you live in Taipei where there's more frequent earthquakes and stuff like that, the game that you play is immediately after the earthquake, everyone goes, "I think it was a 5.1," and then someone else goes, "No, that was like a 4." And then you're like, maybe a 6. That was a strong. And they get into an argument debating what the scale will be at the end of it.
And then money
And,
goes down.
Like it's exactly like it's like it's the weirdest thing ever because literally this is like, hey, you know, the entire planet just kind of ripped itself open slightly. Maybe that's more important than just kind of guessing the number. Like
Who can win the earthquake
Exactly.
dick measuring
The-
contest?
you know we're live, right? You know we're on a video. That's not going to get edited out.
I could swear.
No, I'm going
it's
to Tiny Tom Logan this video.
So the only thing I'm really upset about is that we weren't in
Savage.
Taipei 101 when that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
that
Taipei 101's got the
The damper
count-
ball.
the damper ball,
Tuned,
which goes all
tuned
over the
mass
place.
damper.
Yeah.
Tuned mass
Just
damper.
Mendes. We were on the like 5 or 6 years ago. One of the first ones I came to. We were in the basement of Taipei 101, waiting to go to Din Tai Fung like we do, you know, because we're here. And they have these.
You're in Taipei. Go to
They have
Dinner.
these giant chandeliers. Like, have you ever been to the main level where Din Tai Fun is the ground level?
Well, it's like
They have
a
these
super, it's a
massive
super swanky
chandeliers.
mall,
Yeah, yeah.
right? It's a
Yeah,
swanky mall.
these chandeliers are like 30 feet across. And like I was sitting there and I just kind of felt like a gradual rolling. And I looked up and these chandeliers are all swaying like just crazy. And there's like literally thousands of people just standing around and, you know, drinking boba teas and doing whatever. And I'm like, if one of those chandeliers falls, like hundreds of people are going to die right now, like right
See,
in front of me.
And that's true, which is why when they designed the chandeliers, they took the earthquakes into consideration, which is the other thing I was going at, is that with your 25th floor, the reason you guys felt it so much is because the buildings, when they're built that tall, are designed to sway.
The entire
You will feel it more than the person on the ground floor by a long shot.
the hotel in which our suite is in was all on rollers.
Mm.
So after the
It was
earthquake
2
had
blocks
finished,
away.
No, you're in Italian.
this is down the street. The address changed.
It's okay, wait
But
3
it meant
weeks and come
that they
back.
kept moving a long time after the earthquake because the rollers colors are dissipating all the energy.
Yeah.
So it was my first earthquake.
And
I needed to change my underwear afterwards.
Now
It scared the
you
shit out of
know
me.
almost everything you need to know about what we experienced in an earthquake in Taipei.
Yeah.
Another thing about Taipei is,
Taipei.
and I learned this the hard
Taipei.
way. DTF stands for Din Tai Fung.
Fung.
Yeah.
Stands for Din Tai Fung. I learned that the wrong
The
way.
least expensive
Showed up and I was like, we're
Michelin-starred
going-
restaurant in the world.
Well, I showed up and I was like, oh, we're going to have dumplings.
Oh.
Let me change.
Let me go change
Maybe I should put something more appropriate
I
on.
was like, I was standing there in my leather pants wearing.
Hello.
I was like, all I could think of was,
Dumplings, great. Yeah.
everyone's like,
Can you
this guy
guys take
smells-
these fairy wings off my back?
This guy smells like musk.
You guys got a handcuff key?
So did we get even all your products? I mean, we
No. So there's
got
memory.
Lapdog.
What's the memory stuff?
We're over here. Yeah, memory. Yeah.
So we have two new lines
have no
of
recollection, it's memory.
I know. Well, my memory's not working very well, but our memory works fine.
Yes, of course. What
What you're saying is you need to upgrade.
So we have two new lines of memory.
Maybe
Vengeance
join them
LED, which is our new line of LED lit memory. It's going to be right from the bottom from 2400 megahertz all the way up to 4400 megahertz XMP. So basically as fast as you ever want to go on DDR4, at least on the current platforms. And then we've added either a white LED or a black LED top bar.
Red.
Well, sorry, yeah, sorry. Black,
LEDs.
black LEDs for
That's-
people in their like
Again,
for their mom's basement.
Black
So
The
they-
memory of choice for Satan.
Red LED top bar.
Yes.
Uh,
Also the memory of choice. For
But the cool
Yeah.
thing we can do with
Okay,
these
no,
is we
I'll
can.
No, Satan just called. He really does. He wants those.
Yeah.
Satan. Yeah. We already did sample requests.
Yeah, it's done. I've got him in the book.
He's
I've
on
got him
the
in the
short
database.
list.
That's fine.
He's in Canada, right?
Yeah.
He only vacations there. Okay.
There's a lot of buses I'm throwing.
If
I'm
you
just
use-
going
if
to
you
throw
use-
people.
just like keep throwing them under. Yeah.
Hey, look at bus.
Gotta be in Quebec,
But
though.
no, the cool
Yeah.
thing about the memory is the fact that we can control the lights direct from the operating system, sending commands to the memory through the SM bus. So there are plenty of people on the market with LED lit memory. It's not a new thing, but being able to control that memory from a piece of software in the operating system, not a lot of people can do that. A lot of other manufacturers have put wires and cables and connectors.
The dual PCB one. I saw
Yeah.
someone, and I won't name names, but someone has an entirely separate PCB attached to the top of the memory to control RGB lighting. That then has to plug into the power supply and has to plug into the thing.
Other memory have 2 or 3 connectors just to
Yeah.
do the lighting. Our memory requires no connectors. You just plug it in, go to the software, set the lighting setting as you want, and it's good. So it's DDR4, it's fast, and it's bright. So we're looking forward to launching that one next month. So
Is there an API? I'm just curious because I
Mm,
want to
okay.
make sure. I want the thing
Well,
to like
but-
start like flashing red as soon as my system like goes in like segment.
I'm going to say no. It's going to be developed into Corsair Link, and Corsair Link doesn't have an API in the same way that our gaming software does.
I'm 92% sure because it's the SM bus that with a bus pirate, it can be
Yeah.
reverse engineered immediately.
Yeah, no, we're
Oh.
not concerned about it really because it's something that a million guys will do 10 minutes after we launch the thing.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah,
like, it's not like it's
SM
going to get a
bus, so
performance
using
boost
it
by
can't
making
be
that.
super
There's
Google,
some 14-year-old kid in Finland will figure it out
Yeah,
like
yeah.
an hour after he buys
Or
it.
me.
Yeah. Or you. Yeah.
Go for it. Go for it.
Which, what if you guys don't know this? He is a 14-year-old child from Finland, which is,
See, this is how far you can get ahead if you don't have any homework.
The disguise is just very good.
yeah. The Finnish developed facial hair early.
He's not finished. No joke. No,
No,
no joke. No joke.
No more jokes.
No joke for this.
No more jokes.
And then
So you're saying we're finished?
No.
so the
I
other-
was about to, but I didn't. I decided it was
trying
not.
to do PR here. So the other DRAM line we have is a Dominator Platinum Special Edition. It's basically 2 new lines of Dominator Platinum, which we're only going to do 500 kits of each. One's in black anodized aluminum. Sorry, American.
Aluminium.
You know what? Just for the rest of the world is going to be correcting you right now.
Aluminium.
Furious. You have
Aluminium. It's
you can almost,
aluminium.
you can almost hear them typing.
These fools
You know
don't
there
know how
is
to
not
spell
a
it.
second I in it, right?
I live among them. I must use their language.
I know.
You know, aluminium is actually a different substance here
Yeah.
than in America. Yeah, it's quite thicker or something. That's what makes it. It's the same.
No.
Right?
No.
No.
Yeah, it's that's
Yellow cake aluminium? No.
it's quite a bit
No.
No exporting to North Korea.
different thickness, right?
You guys don't
I hope
understand.
there's still stock video playing.
Those of you guys watching didn't understand why we just started laughing, but the guy in the back who's been giving us notes the whole time almost fell out of his chair writing a joke that really understand, but I think it's amusing nonetheless.
It's different because of the spelling, all right?
Yeah. Neutron XTI. Neutron XTI.
I haven't even finished with the memory.
Oh.
So we have the black aluminum.
It's world's fastest memory, world's slowest PR guy.
But
Oh, we're just knocking me down today.
I can see the posters. You guys are going to sell 1 million.
We're only making 500.
This marketing is too good.
And the other kid is finishing like a polished chrome, so it's like the totally bling out.
Mad Max.
Yeah, Mad Max.
Shiny
Shiny and
chrome.
chrome is totally for it. Yeah.
The box just says "Witness me" in giant letters, and it comes with a little rattle can and food at a safe.
Well, no, it's a cool little special edition. Special edition. It's all individually numbered as well, so you can feel special when you take your DRAM out of your PC.
It really doesn't come with the rattle can. I'm gonna get so many letters. They're like, I bought it and I don't know where the rattle can is. Can you guys ship it to me? Exactly. I can just imagine.
I'm trying. I'm trying.
As they hit delete to enter the BIOS.
Oh, it's F2 nowadays.
I'm enabling XMP. Witness me.
Well, at least it's fun.
Oh, I
At least we're having fun.
I said I'm going to play 14 hours for this.
Could be worse.
I wonder if we could do that as a skit. Can we put Paul into it?
Goodness me! Delete. It's just hammering delete.
God damn it. Reset.
Yeah, reset. It didn't go in.
Oh, yeah. Any more products?
Yeah, one more, and that's our Hydrographics GTX 1080. We're jumping on the GTX 1080 bandwagon with MSI helping us out on that one. It's a collaboration, so they provide the card, we provide the cooler, and liquid cooled graphics.
And we both sell the same product. So MSI calls it the Seahawk. We call it the Hydro GFX.
Yep.
Or Hydrographics, I guess.
It's effectively the same product, just
literally the
our
same
box is
exact
nicer.
card.
Our
We
box
have
is
it
nicer.
well.
Sorry, MSI.
I think our box is nicer. I'm sure MSI disagrees.
MSI uses salt water.
It's a saline coolant. It's also antiseptic, which is nice.
Great.
So that's a cool bonus. That means the only products that Corsair don't make now are motherboards and CPUs. So
Yeah. And we're going after Intel next, boys.
watch out.
Right. We just bought a fab.
Shaking in the boots. You guys know how the factory
Yeah,
didn't get a fab?
I'm sure the guys at Intel are just like, who's Corsair? Corsair?
There's one guy at the back of the room who's like, oh, wait, I think I have one. No, wait.
I have a flash drive of theirs.
Yeah.
No, they're going to be like,
It's,
it's not this
it's,
guy.
it's probably the
It's a bad
USB 2.0 version of Pad,
Yeah.
which is not as fast as the newer USB 3.0, which I recommend you purchase plentifully and often.
Can you stripe those?
You can. You actually can.
Really?
Yeah, you can stripe USB drives.
No,
I've
no,
done it.
yeah.
It's
Oh, yeah.
awkward and weird, but you can.
You'd be
Yeah.
that guy.
I've
You
done
would,
that.
you would be that guy.
I actually I did that.
I hate admitting I did that.
You were that guy.
You say that. No, I
It's a
actually.
secret shade.
No.
Taylor Swift, I love her, but rating USB flash drives? No, I would never admit to that.
Okay, so the reason you would rate a USB flash drive is so you can yank one of them out and put it somewhere safe, and now your data is completely.
Fucked.
Yeah. It's a security feature.
Screw your data on purpose.
So I don't know if it's worth reporting, but the liquid cooled 1080, like, do we want to touch that? Because the Hydro thing is sort of interesting there. So it's like the Founders Edition 1080 versus liquid cooled 1080, and it's like, who knew a liquid cooled card actually performs better and more consistently than an air.
I know.
It's
The,
the big
the
controversy
industry is
this week.
just shock and awe.
Let's
Right?
talk
In
about
other
this.
words,
This is good. This is
sky
good.
is
Hold on, we
blue,
gotta make 3
water
videos out of
wet,
this.
grass
Yeah,
green.
no. Yeah, we got to make 3 videos. All right,
Step 1,
three-part
announce the
series.
intent to make video. Step 2,
So
show outline of video that you're about to make.
in a nutshell, I guess the Founders Edition version of the card, if you are running benchmarks and things like that, with the air cooler, you run through it, and then if you replace the air cooler with a liquid cooler, even if you just do like a jank ghetto, I'm just going to clamp a all-in-one liquid cooler to the card, run the same benchmarks, you get much better numbers.
Yeah.
It seems like that's a foregone conclusion.
Well, the
thing
interesting
is
thing
that-
about it is it's not obvious to a lot of people, because the conception a lot of people think is that liquid cooling is there to cause you to stop overheating, right? You're not going to overheat anymore if you put liquid cooling on. So if you don't have an overheating problem, liquid cooling shouldn't help you. Theoretically, that's in a lot of people's heads. Their vision is, if I don't have a heat problem, liquid cooling cannot help. But the fact is the GPU doesn't overheat on the Founders Edition. It doesn't hit the thermal throttle level. But still, when you put the liquid cooler on the system, you get more consistent frame rate, more consistent clock speeds.
I was told that GPU Boost 2.0, whatever the new NVIDIA version of GPU Boost, starts throttling the card at 37 degrees centigrade. Yeah, that's like where it starts. That's where it actually starts. That may or may not be true. But a reliable member of press told me that this
seems
week.
terrifyingly low to start throttling a GPU when they can go in the.
That's where it starts factoring in it starts looking at the fan speed and the temperature and the power draw and starts actually like monkeying around.
It doesn't necessarily start throttling it, but it definitely starts paying more attention to.
Yeah.
It's the security guard there. It's like,
it's on its radar at this point.
I should probably pay attention.
You see that guy? He looks kind of sketchy.
He's wearing clothes I don't agree with.
Is that socks and sandals? Who would dare wear socks and sandals to Computex? Seriously.
Good question.
No, I'm pretty sure
He's not watching this video, so it
I
doesn't
know.
matter.
But some of his
he has
fans
an
are.
army who will tell him.
Some of his fans are watching this video.
I will get an email later. What did you say?
He didn't say anything. Linus,
happened.
that was me. That was me.
Yeah.
I took credit for that. The blame.
We do it again, damn it.
Yeah, I will do it again.
Doesn't he owe you a case?
Linus doesn't owe me anything, but I am. Look, I've known the guy for 10 years, 11 years since he worked at NCIX. If he's wearing socks and sandals, I'm
Have
gonna
another.
I'm gonna say something.
Go on.
I love the guy, but socks and sandals need to be spoken about. You need to say something about it.
You're gonna form a political group when you get back to the States.
No.
At this point, you'll probably get elected president on that on that platform.
Make fashion great again.
Yeah.
What's your policy? No socks and sandals ever, anywhere.
I've lost the Florida vote.
John Jerome may complain as well.
He was eating babies.
Actually, it's very funny because we have a little party on Monday night, right? And a lot of guys showed up, and Linus was there, and Linus comes to these things, and he is like just a total down to earth guy. He just wears shorts, t-shirt, whatever, and someone goes like, "Well, he didn't dress up for the party," and it's like. He doesn't. No one told him he has to dress up for a party, and more importantly, if they did, he just wouldn't come. First off,
it's tops and tails. Like
yeah,
this.
there were
Okay,
guys in that room. There were guys in there in like t-shirts and jeans. Like I don't know why they were giving him crap for I don't know. But it was just one of those things. Like people have weird expectations of stuff, but I do think socks and sandals are beyond that.
Beyond the pale.
Society level expectations, and then there's going to a fancy
Look, I'm
party.
not saying you have to go white tie, man. I mean, I'm just saying like maybe. Pick one.
George wore a white tuxedo, incidentally. Just like white and blue tuxedo.
That's all I own. That's all I own. It's either the Corsair shirts or my white and blue tux.
Yeah.
With top hat.
Well, yeah. I'm not a caveman.
And well, you have a cane too.
No.
There's only one of me.
I'm not I'm not putting on the Ritz, man.
All right, so let's get back to Computex and just talk about some of the cool stuff you guys have seen. We'll all mention, I guess. It's this thing that you guys are at the Hyatt. You're not even at Computex.
We're the 25th floor of the Hyatt because I don't know the trade floors. Have you ever worked in a booth on a show floor at any point in your life?
No.
It's awful.
Oh wait, I did Burt's Bees for some sweat party.
None of that made any sense. None of that made any sense.
Hold on, guys.
Oh wait.
Please.
Like unintelligible words that made no sense.
Please explain more of that story.
Like back when I was a wee lad, there was some sort of a horticulture festival, and I got hired by Burt's Bees out of Maine to go and hawk, chapstick and salve and whatnot. Which they had a big experience. They set up a tent, and we stood in there and sweat and handed people samples of wax. I've done that. Does that count?
When you said sweat party, I really had a different thing in my head. Like I didn't expect that you meant it in that. It was a little less exciting than I hoped.
Taiwan's kind of a sweat party, right?
Yeah. It's 100 degrees Fahrenheit outside. Yeah. Which I got into an argument with our South African guy, sales guy today, Tim, about Celsius versus Fahrenheit.
Which one are you on?
I'm on the Fahrenheit side because for personal use, because 0 degrees Fahrenheit and 100 degrees Fahrenheit are both human livable numbers that are on opposite ends of the spectrum. 0 is cold, 100 is hot. Somewhere in the middle, everyone's comfortable. That makes sense for people. Yes, it does not make sense for cooking, boiling water, freezing water, whatever. I get that. Celsius has a place, but it does not have a place for people. It doesn't.
Actually, that's the best argument I've ever heard on that topic.
Stupidest thing I've ever heard.
You're British. You have
Water
heard stupider things
freezes.
than this.
Water boils.
Hold on,
You
I'm-
survive in the middle somewhere.
Yeah,
what
It's
is it?
you're talking about granularity. It's like, minus 10 cold, plus 10 still cold.
Wait a minute. You guys have.
See, but you're
you
from
guys have.
England. You don't even know what cold is.
That is true.
No, hold on, they got
They're always just kind of
over there.
It's just damp and wet.
I'm not sure if you're allowed to do this, but you got pounds, stones, miles, and then liters, and then you've got like
How many
yeah.
pecks in a
Hold
bushel?
on, you
Yeah.
got grams because
Grams.
pounds is their money.
The United Kingdom is so conflicted between the metric and the imperial system that we basically
You just use
give
both.
up.
Furlong.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you just give
I
up.
remember. So he just wrote our off-screen assistant just wrote the word furlongs on this. Like,
So, Harry, please explain to me, what is a furlong? I mean, I know most of
I
my
don't think
audience
he
already
knows.
knows.
It
but I'm just curious.
is
He's the guy who started in Terminator 2.
no.
I'm not wrong.
and he's a unit of measure.
Exactly.
Is he that badass?
It's a 25-year-old joke, guys. Come on.
I have no idea what a furlong is. Something to do with the race course and the distance, the proportion of the last final stretch. But yeah, I have no idea what a furlong is.
Well,
No.
Well, someone out
well,
there...
how are you qualified to talk about Fahrenheit versus Celsius?
Furlong isn't an imperial metric. Oh, it probably is. You know.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's,
it is.
how many leagues in a furlong? That's a question.
This is like asking me how many bing bongs in a gadoop I have.
Yeah, how many?
That's
I don't know.
27.
No,
It's
I
no-
don't
don't have the
heard of a
conversion
gadoop. What the
All right,
hell is a
I got
gadoop?
You
one
just
for you.
made it up. You
If-
pulled it out of
if-
your head. It's not like
I know
we
more
made it
about
up.
them than you at this
All right.
point.
You're the expert.
If Steve is on a train traveling 47 miles an hour and Bob is 18 furlongs away, how old would they be if they never met?
5 gadoops.
That's the right answer. A contribution worthy of Michael Gray.
You've won the pancakes.
So, hey, let's give Michael Gray something to talk about.
That's our word of the day.
Let's give Michael Gray something to talk about because we just started selling Lapdog like 2 weeks
Jesus.
ago. And a lot of people got to use Lapdog, like the final version of Lapdog just recently. We were playing Overwatch on 80-inch TV. at
Far
4K.
too much Overwatch.
Yeah. Well, I'm practicing.
What was the graphics card in that thing?
That was a 980 Ti.
Yeah.
Okay. Continue, and then I want to say something on that.
Well, so just launching Bulldog and Lapdog. Now that Lapdog's kind of out in the market, we've been, had this vision of pushing more into the living room, giving people kind of that flexibility to have that desktop experience for gaming in their living room. And Lapdog is basically taking that desktop, quite literally, and putting it in your lap.
So what is it exactly? So these guys, some of these
Right,
guys have
right.
never heard of it. So
Lapdog is basically this enclosure where you can put a K70 or a K65 keyboard from us, as well as hook up one of our mice. It's got a built-in mouse pad, and then it's got a nice foam cushion. So it's basically kind of a command center sitting on your lap with all of these devices, and then a cable running to Bulldog or another PC in your living room. So you basically have the full desktop experience with a real mouse pad and a real mechanical keyboard.
Let me confess something right now. When I first saw this, I was like, no way you're getting me away from my computer. No way happened. It's dumb. I'm not going to go out and sit on the couch. I'm a computer person, damn it. I like sitting in my computer. I have a couch and I haven't
Leave me
set up.
alone in my room.
I haven't.
It's my man cave.
Yeah.
the couch is where my wife watches so.
I had a couch and I had never sat on it. Never once sat on my couch.
You owned it just so the room looked full.
Yeah, I was like, I feel so lonely. And I got a couch and I'm
I
like,
put junk mail there.
yeah.
They're really
That's where the
comfortable.
socks
though.
And it was a nice leather couch. And so anyway,
It was nice. It was actually really comfortable. The first time I came out to Seattle, I slept on it. It was really nice.
Thanks.
I got to experience that.
I'm
couch
glad
long
you
and-
used his couch.
I did. I
Were you
used
the
his couch.
first one to use his couch?
Yes.
Did you write a review of the couch?
Couch
on,
experience.
Amazon?
I did a video.
we
log.
vlogged it.
I
Vlogged it.
Yeah, because we're so goddamn important.
4 out
Well,
of
you're
7
influenced
would
now.
No,
couch.
5 out of
Check this
7.
out.
Best couch ever.
5 out of 7.
5 out of 7
So anyway,
would couch again.
So I was down in LA and somebody was reviewing this and I was using her lapdog and I was like, God damn it, because big screen and everything. I was like, I need this now. I did not realize that I needed it, but now I realize I need it.
Yeah, no, dude, like when I first saw the thing like a year and a half ago in the prototypes, I was like super negative about it. I was like, this thing is huge and it's ugly and it's black and it's metal and it's like weighs 35 pounds. And then I actually saw like when I used it and I was like, wow, like that's not as heavy as it looks. It isn't as ugly because once you actually have the keyboard in it and the mouse on it, you realize the shape of it has a purpose. It looks like a big K70.
It's brushed
Yeah,
aluminum, man.
it's brushed
It's
aluminum.
tough to
So
make brushed aluminum ugly.
well, when it doesn't have a keyboard in it, it has this big gaping hole,
Ah, yeah.
which I didn't understand like I mean, I'm not very
What's
smart.
the hole for?
Yeah,
No jokes.
what do you put in this
No
hole?
jokes.
Like,
No, don't rise to that one.
no
Don't
jokes.
rise to that one.
But-
that one's too easy. That one's for the commenters.
yes,
Enjoy.
yes, YouTube comments. Please answer that question. But no, I was using the thing in the booth last year at Computex, the early prototype, and it was immediately a convert. I was like, this is so much better than I ever expected it could be. And I'm totally gonna buy one right now.
You know, one of the really weird reasons why I started liking it is a context shift. I've been at my computer a long time, and I game a little bit, but I've started using my computers and stuff to do benchmarks, and I just work so much in my PC. Now I'm almost starting to see the Lapdog as like hanging out and having fun, and it's like I kind of needed that. And this is kind of, and I was like, oh, holy crap! I'm actually playing a game. Usually when I'm playing a game, I'm working or I'm benchmarking it or doing just something I don't really do on my leisure time. So now it's like, it's my fun time.
Yeah.
And I see it, I'm like, oh, that's a happy fun time waiting to happen on my lap. What are we talking about?
No.
The Lapdog.
It's
the happy
funny.
fun time
It's
waiting
easy.
to happen on your
And it's
lap.
got a hole in
Easy.
it.
Gaping.
It is funny. So, wow, good lord.
Harry,
We really-
run with that.
we
It'll
really-
sell millions.
Who said not to
Really
make a
screwed
joke
the
about
pooch
that?
on that one. That was me. But
Behold,
no, actually,
Lapdog with its
that's-
gaping hole.
Happy fun
that's
time
for
on
the
your lap.
We'll keep that one off of the product.
Are we still doing
Phrasing.
phrasing? Yeah. Are we still doing phrasing? All right. No, actually, that's interesting. It reminds me of something I read once about. I read an article about the sociology of people that assign purposes to spaces, and that like people don't see certain spaces as certain things. So like one of the things in the article, the example they did was they gave like 200 people treadmills, and they asked like half of them to put the treadmill in their like bedroom or in the living room, and they asked half of them to put the treadmill in its own space. And the half of the people who put the treadmill in its own space used it far more often because that became the place they go to work
It's
out.
context, yeah.
Whereas the bedroom is like, oh, this is going to hang my clothes soon, or I'm just going to hang out with it, or it's in my living room, this is where I
Yeah.
relax, I don't want to work out in that room. But people assign functions to spaces, like psychologically they assign that. So I think that might be a good example. Like, this is my work area now. I don't want to sit down here and play Doom. I don't want to sit down here and like play whatever. I'm going to go in the living room and sit down and play Overwatch or Doom or whatever on my badass Lapdog system that I have set up and plugged into my TV. And it becomes like, oh, now I have a space to relax and a space to work. So maybe that's something that is a good example of it.
Shut up, console gamers.
You now have no reason or excuse. You like sitting in the living room, get the Lapdog.
Yeah. You can, by the way, plug in Xbox 360 controller into Lapdog. It has a USB port on it. If you want to play a racing game and you don't want to use your keyboard and mouse for it, if you want to play...
But surely on a PC.
Yeah. Well, of course. Otherwise, you're not going to play 4K on any of the consoles.
So you've already got the
Not for
mod
about
in
20
mind for
years.
this. As I'm going to graft some connections, I'm going to put a HOTAS on either side of the Lapdog.
Can we get cup holders?
And an ashtray for my cigars.
Yep, an ashtray. But another thing the Lapdog also has is quick charge capability, so you don't have to leave your couch. You're good to go.
Oh, for your phone, you mean?
Yeah,
now
for
what
your
you're
So it
phone.
has the 2.1 or the high amp out USB port?
Yeah, quick charge 3, USB 3, it's
Charge your
ready to
phone
go.
and order pizza.
There's like an 18.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I got something for you. There's like an 18 pin connector or something like that in there. I think it's 18. Is it 18 pin or 22 pin? I forget.
It's an 18 pin
18.
connector,
18.
yeah.
What is that going to be for in the future?
It's a vestigial pin.
It's actually pretty accurate.
Yep, it's
So-
a vestigial pin.
So I think there was something out on the internet that somebody happened to mention. I'm not sure it needed to be mentioned or should have been mentioned, but that it was used during development for potentially added functionality. There is no plan to use that vestigial connector at this time.
Let's not beat around the bush.
However,
we can tell people
Why
that
is it
there
there?
was at one
Why
time
is it there?
there was a question of whether we were going to develop a wireless version of Lapdog,
Sure.
and so that was the pin for the wireless module
Right.
that never got developed. If there's a terrifyingly huge demand, we will probably end up
Yeah.
developing a custom wireless Lapdog 2.0 or something. But I do not believe this version of Lapdog is suitable for wireless. I think that the wireless version will have to be kind of a very different
There are
product.
challenges involved, right? You have to put a big lithium battery
Yeah.
inside. You have to put a wireless module, which inherently will add some latency of some description.
And there's also the subtle terror of a really strong wireless signal really close to a very important part of a lot of people. That's my concern.
well, you don't have to use the gaping.
All right. Do you put your cell phone in your pants pocket?
Yeah, but it's nowhere near as strong as the wireless module that's going to be a Lapdog. That melted the first 3 Lapdogs.
It's burned a hole
Yeah.
straight
It was
through.
like the end of Raiders. It just
Chernobyl.
It's like everything melted. It was awful.
Right, so let's go around. Coolest thing you saw at Computex, or have seen. That's all.
Okay,
It's
so
still going on. Have seen thus far.
So if you can imagine some sort of like hand gourd about this big, I found a mouse that was that size. It had like
the size of a
gigantitis or
football.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
it was like
Wait, a
a
football or
large
football?
Nerf football. A large Nerf football.
A mouse
I
as
think
big as
you'll
my
like.
head.
A mouse as big
And
as your
I'll have
head.
to give you the picture so
Mouse
you
as
can
big
show
as your
your
head.
viewers. But
Not as big as George's
it was-
head.
Nothing is as big.
it was a giant mouse as big as the mouse pad and the laptop next to it.
What would you use that for, and how would one use that? Is it just a novelty thing to make
Super
you-
low
Well, I mean,
sensitivity CSGO.
I don't know. My hand was about like this. I
Two
believe.
hands.
Yeah, you could have two-handed it.
Left click, right
You
click.
could. It was more than two hands could hold.
Maybe it's like a Ouija mouse where everyone has to put their hands on it to just find out what we're supposed to be doing.
My computer, double click. What's this one? It's tracking to a file. Do not open. Double click.
Hey, are you moving it? Are you moving it?
Yes.
Not porn.
So use this on your friend's PC and especially your parents' PCs.
Yeah.
Car loan documents. Oh no. That's a joke. I would never do that.
The ultimate in personal security.
We should make this.
I've already got 3 prototypes. in
You
my
can
mind.
buy it right
Yeah.
now for $4.
Yeah.
If you go to the hall, she'll sell it to you for
They'll do
$4.
it. Shit.
If you go to the hall.
Well, only after the show, and I'm gonna get a pallet of them, which means I'm gonna get like 10.
10 on the pallet.
That's a logistics joke.
That was.
We have 70 people who got that.
Well, there's probably some procurement guy going,
All right, what's the coolest thing you've seen thus far? Have you gone to the show?
me?
Yeah.
No, I don't go to the hall anymore. It's it's effort. So no, I'm actually kind of just hanging out at the booth mostly. The coolest thing I saw, honestly, I saw a lot of interesting people's opinions on the like AMD and NVIDIA stuff lately. So that's my thing. I've been spending a lot of time, and it's not a product, but just watching people argue about it.
GPU apocalypse.
Yeah, well, it's look, it's nothing new, right? It was 3D effects versus
Yeah, but now
NVIDIA.
It's
But
never. It's
now
never,
we're at the point where we have these crazy conspiracy theories floating around where AMD. Have you seen the stuff where what's the guy's name who made the conspiracy theory about how AMD has been playing it just this way all along and they're about to take over? Have you seen that? It's on our website.
So basically,
Like the little finger of
AMD is so it's like, AMD is Littlefinger and NVIDIA is
Like-
Ramsey Bolton or
They're
something.
like-
NVIDIA is like
exactly.
Varys.
He just keeps winning, and I don't understand why.
They're like, hey, I will give
Jensen
him.
Varys and the AMD guy is Littlefinger. And
I
they
will-
have that big argument about whether chaos is allowed.
That's what's happening. They're like, I will give you the market, and then you will kill yourself. And then, I mean, the argument kind of goes that AMD is doing everything they can to move the console world to multiple GPUs. And when they convince the console world to go multiple GPUs, because now that they're 14 nanometer, they can be like, hey guys, in the next generation, let's do multiple GPUs and do everything parallel, and program all your games for multiple GPUs, and then it'll kind of break SLI because it won't work the same way because it'll be doing it through the bus and stuff.
Yeah, but hasn't
And then-
every time someone tried that, where they found that like programming for real multi-threading is a giant pain in the ass for like big scope multi-threading. I mean, doesn't this, even like the Sega Saturn versus the original PlayStation was like, okay, the Sega Saturn technically had more horsepower because it had 5 little processors in there, 32-bit processors. But everyone programmed for the PlayStation because it was really easy to program for and did a little bit better 3D.
Same thing with the Dreamcast.
Dreamcast and everything. So I mean, like, if that's their approach, they're going to have to do some real work to get
Right.
coders into the point
Right.
where, hey,
And-
multi-threading is not something you just can do if you have time.
Mantle and Vulkan.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be the Vulkan API, yeah.
Right, but here's the caveat: the game developers that need to do the coding, they don't have a lot of money, right? They're spending all of their money developing those AAA titles,
And marketing.
so they're
And
not
marketing,
and so they're not spending the money necessarily developing to take full advantage of multi GPU graphics, and that's where obviously NVIDIA and AMD come in and try to infuse some cash maybe to get their technology working a little bit better for multi GPU. But until the game developers get to that point where they have to do it, they're not going to do it en masse.
Right. So
Yeah, if there's a real value there, like if it's really
Yeah.
easy and obvious, then they'll do it because clearly it's an advantage, right?
Yeah.
Especially now when like every AAA title takes $100 million to develop and $50 million to market because you got to build 15-foot tall statues to put in 5 cities around the planet. Like that's not something that you can do cheap, right? And so like if it's a way to beat if you got a guy who's smaller and he's going to be able to beat like an EA or an Ubisoft or something like that by approaching Vulcan or Mantle in a new and interesting way, then yeah, you'll see people using it.
But there's also been a long time too that gamers, the common denominator has been a 1080p monitor too, right?
Yeah.
Now we're seeing 4K. We'll be seeing 5K up to 8K maybe even more than that. But 8K seems to be.
I'm guessing
obviously
16K.
Yeah.
With theory.
We'll get to 11K. Turns to 11.
That's not going to happen.
But very importantly, there hasn't been a
prime
reason
K.
to truly embrace multi-GPU as a game developer either, because if you're running at 1080p and that's what everyone's doing for the most part, then you're fine.
Yeah, if
so
you look at like the Steam
now,
server results and monitor resolution,
exactly.
it's like 72% or some terrifying number.
You know, so we're also going to get to the point where you need that. They're going to need that graphics horsepower to push those pixels at 4K, and there's going to be no card that runs their game at 4K. Because it's so stunning and so beautiful, but it's not multi-GPU. I'm sorry, you get 20 frames a second.
Yeah, we were running on the 980 Ti. We were running Doom at 4K on that system. We didn't have everything maxed out,
Right.
but we had it, really, really good, and a lot of stuff turned up to mid or high, and it was running in like 50, 48 frames a second. It was almost around 60, and that's, a 1080 obviously would do even better.
Yeah, I got the 1080 and I'm running it at 4K at 60 plus almost all the time.
Yeah.
I got I have a 290X, but I've got the 8 gig memory on that system, and it's medium settings. Some of them I put to high, but I also turn off anti-aliasing when you get to 4K.
Well, yeah, 4K, the pixels
once you start
is
getting
not that big
to
of a deal.
4K, you no longer need that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I kick off
It's phenomenal.
a couple of things up a little higher, but I'm running anywhere. In really intense scenes, it drops down to like 35, but it never drops below 30. And I'm running on a 4K 40-inch monitor that's running 60 hertz.
So the 290X it's
old.
That's an
It's a
older
3-year-old
card.
card, yeah.
That's an older card.
What was it? The 295X2 is still benchmarking higher than anything
Yeah.
for the 5 guys that have them.
And drawing 500 watts at a time.
I think it's more like 650 or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Something
they were
ridiculous.
terrifying.
Well, how many amps? It's like
All of them.
Strong, like
all the
it's
amps.
like 50
All
amps.
of them.
Pardon me, do you have some more amps?
Some little orphan card.
Please, may I have some more?
We have some more amps.
Please, PSU, can I have some more?
So let's go ahead and talk about Polaris, shall we? Do you want
Polaris.
to finally jump in and get into some Polaris? Because we got a bunch of articles here, and everyone is over. I guess they're done at Macau. Everyone ran over to Macau, and all the influencers got all their notes to talk about on the internet. And
Everything's under NDA until the end of June, but we're not under NDA until the end of June.
we weren't invited.
But we know nothing. But
So-
see, there was an
But
NDA.
except what everyone else has told you.
Yes. Well,
So, answer a quick question for me, because I don't understand. How is there so much data on this if the NDA is a month away?
yes, exactly. But see, the press release was also there was a press event at Computex, and we've got some coverage of that. But the press event at Computex was super weird, in my opinion, because they had the lady on stage and she was talking about all the different games and all the different stuff that they've got going on, and they really did sort of officially confirm that there's going to be this 40% IPC improvement, but they weren't real super clear about 40% improvement over what. They just said 40% improvement over current stuff. And everybody's assumption is, well, that's, Excavator? So is that 40% there, or are we talking like 40% older architecture, or like 40% from where they were a couple of years ago? Because there was some room for skepticism there, and they weren't actually
yeah.
super clear.
I mean, to be fair, when they did the NVIDIA presentation, 3 weeks ago or whatever, there was a lot of people saying the same things, because they had those graphs that are just like faster than before. Like,
Yeah.
Before
Yeah.
what?
So yeah, we actually were at that one. Most of those graphs were double the performance, and then the asterisk, and then would be like when doing VR with our new technology.
Yeah.
And that was pretty accurate.
And it was also over the 980, not over the 980 Ti.
Yeah.
Right.
That's true.
That
They
was
were
the-
very clear.
yeah.
They did say that. I think a lot of people missed that detail.
Right. So I
but
put it up
they-
against the 980 Ti in my machine,
And overclock.
and overclocked both of them. Not
Because
just
you
one.
can overclock until tomorrow.
Yeah. On the 980, really, actually, the 980 is still the king. We checked out some of the stuff that Galax is doing. The Hall of Fame cards are ridiculous, and their overclockers they had there were like, I can't beat my 980 Ti scores. Can't do it because there's more cores on the 980.
I was thinking
Ti.
about this, and the 980 Ti has, I think it's like 450 some odd.
Is that many?
More cores than the 1080. And I started like thinking about
So you
this.
got frequency advantage versus processing advantage.
Well, you have
And then-
25%. You have a 25% increase in number of processing cores on the 980 Ti than you do on the 1080. So my thoughts were that you would have to have the 1080 running 25% roughly faster.
Which it does.
That it would have to be running 25% faster before it can meet the 980 Ti.
Well, it's
So
also
if
got a
you
number of
could
other
al-
things, like the technology. The memory compression is another thing that's it's super helpful. Because they're able to achieve a much higher level of texture compression. So therefore, the scenes are easier. They basically have done everything they didn't do in hardware in software. And so the games that, where everything just works, it's like, oh, it's quite a bit faster. But when you go look at like some of the older games and stuff like that that's not as optimized, maybe not using all the new APIs, and you're like, well, it's moderately faster.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my experience. I was like, let's try out some indie games. Let's try out some older games. Let's try out some different games. Let's try out some real world stuff. And then I'm probably going to get spanked for it. But, that's just what I do. So...
Well, that's what I would care about. If I
Yeah.
was going to buy a card, I want to know, like, okay, I played these 5 games.
Yeah.
Who reviewed them, so I know if it's worth me buying the card.
As the same, I played Soma, which is the indie game, the horror game from who are the guys that made
I don't remember their names.
well,
I can never remember their
Amnesia
names.
and all those Penumbra and all that. They got like 1 FPS more. I was like, well, this is interesting, and I kept running the test, and I was like, and then one test came back like after I ran the test 15 times, it came back with a 980 Ti being like 1 frame more, and I was like, I just don't even know anymore. So I was like, something's not right here. But
And then there was also another snafu with the drivers this week. So the WHQL drivers are out, but they seem to cap the power at like 107%, and the launch press event thing from NVIDIA was like 120% power overage.
frictional games.
Thank you,
Is that
Mana
it?
White.
Isn't that in white?
Mana White.
Mana
Like
White.
Vanna White, he's our Mana
I
White.
get that.
I was a little low on mana.
That's pretty bad. That's a man on wage.
I'm going to show myself out.
Adios. Can we get a new Michael? No, I'm just kidding.
the pitch hitter, Michael.
Pitch hitter Michael. On deck Michael.
So I guess the big thing. Okay, so the big thing with the AMD stuff is the price point. Really, I mean that's the news here. It's not going to beat the 1080. It's not going to beat probably even the last generation NVIDIA or the last generation. I mean, maybe it's going to meet their stuff.
Well, they're going to pitch it as an SLI, as a Crossfire competitor to the 1080, right? Two 480Xs will beat a 1080, or according to AMD.
They
that's
cost
the-
less.
and cost for significantly less, but
400,
also
yeah,
consume
400
significantly
bucks
more
or
power. But
Even cheaper than the 1070s.
yeah,
No, see,
for
that's the-
$400, right?
Yeah, but
it's super cheap.
But that's the concern I really have. Is I mean, these things are, if all the things that I've seen so far, these are 14 nanometer FinFET process, so they would be consuming less power.
But if you put two of them, in a
You put
system,
two of them.
yeah.
When you double them up, they're consuming more
I
power.
think
That's
they only need one 6-pin per card, and that one I think a 6-pin does about
75.
now.
The spec is 75.
Yeah.
So again, that's the for now, and the reason I say this because we've got the founders edition of the NVIDIA is like, oh, it's only got the one connector on the card. Well, I've seen at least 5 cards on the show floor that have got 2 connectors.
Well, those are the OC ones with the 10 phases
But
and all
that's my
that.
point. Is like
Yeah.
the card that you're going to buy may not be the one that just came out.
Well, those are
from
like
the manufacturer.
230 TDP. Most of those with the like 10 to 14 phases that you depending on who you're going with, EVGA and the Glax or MSI or whoever, the Windforce or whichever one you go with, it's going to pull like 200, 230 TDP. So yeah, I mean, you're at the end of the year, you're talking about dollars. Like literally, you're looking at people are yelling and screaming on forums, and we're talking about like a few cups of coffee at the end of the year.
For the power consumption?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and then,
Depending on where you live. If you live in New York, maybe a little bit more. But if you live in, in most places where electricity is a reasonable price.
And you're arguing all this. I mean, it's really not. So the power consumption thing has always been a bigger deal for like data center guys, right? And so
Right.
where they care
Massively
about,
parallel stuff.
But home users, like, look, we're a company that sells power supplies, right? And so we've pushed efficiency because efficiency not only does it reduce power consumption, and we could argue the cost savings. Yes, you'll save 4 cents a month on power or whatever. But realistically, it just keeps things cooler. It produces less heat, and that means we can run the fans slower and quieter. That's what the efficiency real value is for most end users, right? So the same kind of thing can do that with these graphics cards. If the GPU is producing less heat because it's drawing less power and they have a good coolant on it and stuff, 145 watts is a lot easier to cool than 230. For a graphics card, especially when you're limited to that much space.
Run your AC less.
Yeah.
And that's where you start dealing with the real money.
I don't know if I'm going to say any more about the AMD stuff until we get our hands on it. Because really,
that would be fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
We were talking a lot of conjecture and rumor, and
right.
No one's out of NDA yet, so yeah.
I mean, from my point of view, it is really an interesting play. It's the first time I've seen a really different approach.
Right.
Usually they try and fight that Halo product fight, and $500, $600 card fight, and then the next level, and then the next level. And so I've never really seen like one guy go, okay, we're doing Halo product, and one guy go, we're not even trying, we're going to do something completely different. We're going to put 2 cards in there.
I'll be interested to see if the number of Crossfire users significantly improves, because it's in a massive minority at the moment. Yeah. It's like single-digit percentages. If I recall correctly.
And also
from the Steam survey, it's single-digit percentages using multiple GPUs. But
it plays into the conspiracy.
Yeah, but if AMD goes, actually, you know what? We're going to go hard on Crossfire and basically produce a mid-range GPU, which you can double up and knock down.
That begs the question of Crossfire scaling too. Like, how well will Crossfire scale? They have new drivers, they have new setups. I mean, they have new technology, new hardware. Crossfire scaling has always been kind of a hit or miss thing, depending on generation.
Someone talked to me about a new VR technology that AMD were running. That the idea was that basically you had one GPU for each eye for VR, and that was how it would work. It would be optimized that right eye would be rendered by one card, left eye would be rendered by another card, and that's the wonder of you were talking about parallel processing and multi-GPU setup. And
I think that's AMD's take, and NVIDIA's take is to render the geometry in one pass and then have each eye be a window into that world. So you're still, you're still showing twice as much, and it's more expensive, but it's easier as far as doing the geometry pass.
It's kind of like the way they approached SLI versus Crossfire at one point, where it was, it doesn't even stand for anything anymore, right?
It's not scanline interleave anymore.
No, it's scalable link interface.
Yeah, scalable link interface. And
one of the things I thought was interesting in seeing some of the motherboards that were on the show floor is that they would have a listing of, this motherboard is fancy because it's got all of these PCI Express slots, and this one is capable of doing 2-way SLI but 3-way Crossfire, and this one's able to do 3-way 3-way SLI but 4-way Crossfire. And I was like,
because they put the chip on it.
Neat. I mean, but that speaking of scaling, it's like so you get the same motherboard that you can only put 3 NVIDIA cards in, you can put 4.
Well, and that also, and then the next logical thing is number of PCI Express lanes total, right? Like if you look at now, there's a maybe potentially a viable reason to move to X99 platform over the Z170 for some people.
Extra PCIe lanes, it'll substantially impact GPU performance.
Anyway,
all right, we're gonna move on. Oh, you haven't told us your favorite thing at the show.
My favorite thing is the Azus robot.
Is it anything called Zumba or something?
What was it called?
Zimbo.
Zumba.
Zimba.
Zumba. MSI's got the
Zumba.
Zenbo.
President
I like the jazzercise from MSI better.
All right, so I have this theory that Mega Man was actually a video game created by somebody that traveled back in time, and that the current, Johnny Shi is actually Dr. Light from Mega Man, and this is Mega Man 0.1.
Have you posted that to the subreddit for our fan things?
Well, no, it's interesting because at the Intel press event, he's like, "Oh, this is my robot boy," and it's like
awkward. This doesn't end well. We've seen this play out before.
The whole idea of when we finally get the kind of domesticated robots or that kind of stuff, Computex is where if I was going to launch a genuine domestic servant robot, Computex would be where I would launch it. Consumer electronics. Taiwan's where it's probably going to be built in some way, unless Detroit wants all that work. So,
unions. They're going to be built by Teamsters.
Sorry, break time.
So I think that
why doesn't this one have an eye?
A company as big as Asus, and so consumer focused as Asus, right? It's not like some big dog military robot or something like that.
Well, what's that giant Boston
Dynamics?
That builds that really creepy quad leg robot that they go and beat the crap out of on a YouTube video every so often to show that it can't fall over.
This isn't a robot that's designed to drag ammunition across a battlefield. Yeah. This isn't a robot that's designed to comically smash down a door during a fire and just take the whole frame out and be like,
well, I'm kind of glad because
it's a consumer robot for kind of messing about with and having around. And
it's interesting. It's like Rosie from the Jetsons.
I thought Japan was doing the messing about with ones.
It's not that kind of robot.
That is not an output.
Anything can be that kind of robot.
If you try hard enough.
And believe in yourself. No, the,
Not for that reason, but that's kind
but-
of cool.
Hey, we get lonely members. Most of them.
What?
Our members are lonely. Most of them.
wow, insulted.
I'm sorry, guys. Go watch
Jeez.
someone else.
I did though. So speaking of the robots, the Boston Dynamics guys, which are no more, correct?
Well, they're still around, but they don't have their government contract anymore.
Yeah. Well,
Isn't
I think
Google selling them as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
it was terrifying to me when they showed that video where they had the one that was like, I don't know if it was them, but they had the one that was like kind of vaguely humanoid.
Bipedal.
And they had the guy knocking it over and hitting it with a bat and stuff. And I'm like, if robots were ever going to rise up, that video is what they would point at. It's like,
Yeah.
are we really going to tolerate
This is where
this?
it began.
Like,
this is where
that
the
would
robot
be,
apartheid
like, if I were
began.
going to start like my kind of like make robots great again movement, this is like the video I would use to support it. I would be like, look,
Making robots great again? Are you going to ban shredded cheese?
yeah, we're going to build a digital wall,
I got it.
A firewall.
firewall, and we're going to make the viruses pay for it.
You mean the Russians?
6 of 1.
Who makes?
We probably should do a quick mention of the Intel press event too, because good lord, the new processor from Intel is $1,723 US. What the hell?
But that's a value compared to how many cores it has.
Well,
That's $170 a core.
We ordered a.
That's way cheaper than my first processor.
That's true.
Yeah, so it turns out that we just decided to order a 2687W V4 because the OEM cost on that is approximately the same. That's a 12-core, 30 meg L3 cache part. That's 3 gigahertz stock, 3.5 gigahertz turbo. No idea if we can overclock it. We're gonna find out.
Let's play around with the base clock and see how many errors it throws.
That was a really maniacal laugh.
Yeah.
Really excited about that.
Should we tell them what we paid for it?
Yeah, well, no.
I want to watch Wendell's Xeon overclocking guy.
Street price is seriously like $1,700-1,800 bucks. Arc price is like $2,100. It's a 12 core, not a 10 core. It's like, wow, $1,700 really, Intel? I mean, come on. Let's use the server CPU. And if I get really crazy, I could get a server motherboard and have 2 of those. But I mean, come on.
Well, then you're really. So this is the question I have too, which is again, this is bordering that prosumer level thing, right? Where like
Just cross the threshold.
Yeah, I mean, because at some point, that processor probably is not going to make like most gamers' experience much better. It's not like that. It's not like they were running into limits at 8 cores that like Tomb Raider is just like not going to work anymore. Like, so the question is, what's going to take advantage of that for the guys who are buying? And I know that obviously there's guys doing encoding and stuff like that are going to.
Some of the Corsair sales team have a lot of Excel spreadsheets open at one time. a whole lot of Excel
more than
spreadsheets.
single-threaded.
Yeah, and Andy Kwok's spreadsheets are something to behold, man. They're impressive as hell.
You just name dropped someone.
I did name drop someone no one knows,
no
but
one knows.
he won't even watch this video. But this is a guy he's my, so it's boring to some people, but he's a channel marketing guy whose job it is to make sure that every single forecast for every single region is lined up. So if enough guys in Poland want to buy a case, he has to look at volume for that region and say this guy has to buy this many. So it's kind of silly, but that means that he has probably the most like detailed spreadsheet you've ever seen, and he can tell you in a second if it's like calculated what margin, what sales volume, and all that stuff. So I saw I was like, hey, can you look this up real quick and tell me what would happen if we decide to cancel this product in this region and replace it with this one? And he's like, oh yeah, we would lose $30,000 a week on this thing, but we'd make $28,000 on that thing. And I'm like, that was remarkably fast to figure that out. He's like, oh yeah, it's easy. It's all in the spreadsheet. And my mind just broke the minute he showed it to me. Like he brought up the slide, the spreadsheet on the monitor, and I just was like, cool.
Tell me he's running that whole thing in 1080.
It's probably, sadly, he's got a stupid, like, old laptop and a 1080 screen next to him. So we were joking we should just buy him a 4K monitor.
Yeah.
Like, just have him, like, a 4K monitor.
You can watch his mine and just go,
I know.
It's almost like those, like, kind of, like, CG moments from Limitless where the numbers are just flying through his head. It's just like, you can't be on screen, for sure.
All right, coolest thing you've seen so far. What do you think? Well, you mentioned the Intel thing. That
Yeah, well, the Intel, the beginning of it doesn't have anything to do with Computex, but they had a Wushu Master at the beginning of the Intel press event.
was pretty cool, yeah.
Because Intel has to turn it up to 11, but they were doing motion tracking, and so it was like a motion track Wushu Master, so it was like computer-generated graphics, but it was tracking her as she moved around,
In
and she
real
was doing
time.
stuff with the swords, and they had all kinds of sensor data output on one of the screens, and it's like, ooh, scientific data, ooh, artistic performance. And so that was sort of
Worlds
interesting.
collide.
But there have been a lot of interesting products and a lot of really, we've still got a lot of stuff to do too on the exhibition hall floor. I really like the liquid nitrogen overclocking stuff from HW Bot. That was really, really insane. There was like 30 systems there that were based on Broadwell E. So they were just it was completely nuts. I mean, they were hitting, I talked to them about the overclocking, and I said, the deal with Broadwell E this time around is that there's a favorite core in the CPU, and that one is the one that overclocks the most normally with like the new Intel Turbo Boost. But all of the cores, or maybe groups of the cores, have different target power and different clock rates that you can sort of target on an individual core by core basis. And so when you're doing an overclock, it's like you're going to load all 10 cores, you're probably only going to get 4.3. But if you're going to have 4 or 6 cores, you could probably hit 4.5. And then on liquid nitrogen, they were hitting 5 gigahertz. So with really good all-in-one or really, really good custom loop cooler, 4.5 gigahertz basically at the top end is what I was getting, and 4.3 gigahertz on the okay, every core works this way. But when you're doing the overclocking, you're going to have to sit and fiddle with which cores get what voltage, and to be sure that you don't deliver too much voltage during some kind of an overclock window. And different manufacturers are putting different bits of hardware on their boards in order to be able to deal with all the shenanigans that go with delivering the right amount of power at the right time, not overheating the CPU, and not having waste heat go into throttling things.
So I'd imagine that the board vendors like Asus, Samsung, Gigabyte, those guys, ASRock, will put together really decent BIOS options to kind of automate that to some level for people.
It's going to be more work than it has ever been to support those options. And so, out the gate, I don't know what kind of options we're going to see. I mean, technically X99 is supported for Broadwell E. You should be able to just drop your Broadwell E CPU in a normal, good old-fashioned X99 board.
In a 2-year-old board, right?
Yeah, but they'll be able.
2-year-old board, is that
right?
right?
But they'll have BIOS updates and stuff. Enhanced CPU compatibility was the only note that it tells you, but it really does like 10,000 other things too. But I bet you, like within, because they all have built-in overclocking in the BIOS, or not even BIOS, UEFI now.
Yep.
But they all have built-in overclocking in those, and I'm sure that with that capability now, they're going to have some level of like, hey, determine optimal frequency, determine optimal, multi-threading or whatever. You'll be able to just go in there and hit F2, and go through it or whatever.
Yeah, there have been a couple of boards that we've taken a look at that do have a pretty good stab in that direction. But it's still pretty early, and it's still a little bit fiddly. And in terms of like updating legacy boards for support, I'm surprised the number of manufacturers that are releasing significantly tweaked new SKUs versus just saying, hey, we've got a software update, we got a real minor update.
I mean, from a business perspective, they're selling a new board then, right?
Yeah.
So the incentive is for them to sell another board. And so if they can sell you a new board with Broadwell, even though you bought an X99 board 2 years ago or whatever, they will. So I'm sure that they will, because they can get better, market share if they keep supporting the older boards a little while. But yeah, I'm sure the new boards are out there, and they're going to have even more features and better power delivery and better look and feel. Like I saw some of the boards now, like there's a lot of really cool cosmetic features on some of these boards. Like these heat sinks are getting more interesting, more colorful. So
RGB.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
I got a
RGB, all the things.
RGB. I'll jump in with RGB because we've been talking about what we've seen that's pretty interesting.
Sure.
Everything's RGB. I mean, I'm waiting to see like SSDs that are RGB, and I think it's kind of interesting because there's the whole joke about like everyone with their my first PC, and it's just like a light show that looks like a it looks like a lowrider.
My second PC is a black box that's in the closet.
And now I think we're back around where we're like, what? I kind of miss some of the flair and some of the whole like cyberpunky, like.
Well, we're doing it ironically now. Like it's like wearing trucker hats and drinking PBR 10 years ago.
but there's something more refined about it now. Like with all the RGB. There's like a cleaner aesthetic around the edges. It's not just like, hey, we're gonna glue some junk in here and it's gonna be a goofy looking Chief Tech case.
Well, I think you're right, and I think my view
it's
on
coming
it
back
is that it's at one point it was like if you're gonna buy flashy LED fans or flashy LED cases
or cold cathodes
or all those EL wire things or whatever, they were all like generally crappy performance. So
Right.
the real performance
Plus a
stuff,
fire risk with the cold cap.
yeah, the real performance stuff was like more plain, more serious.
Yeah.
You had to go buy a Delta fan, which was like a boring black fan, but it worked and it was the best fan you could buy. Instead of buying like the blinky, blue and yellow fan
Right.
from whoever tech. And
Whoever tech.
I think from
Visit them at the Nangang show floor.
Oh God.
Booth
but I think
W0.
now you've seen
Whoever
like
tech.
so like the K70
Can you
keyboard.
register that real quick?
The K70 keyboard is a good example, I think. I mean, I know I'm
Yep.
biased on that, but the K70 keyboard has like a giant badass aluminum chassis. It has cherry switches. It's like functionally, it's a great keyboard. We also happen to sell an RGB version of it if you care about the lighting. And to no one's surprise, the RGB sells way more than the non-RGB version, even though it adds a significant cost to it. Like if you're going to go buy the RGB version, you're paying extra for it. And it's not a cheap keyboard already. I mean, it's over $100. It's $150.
But it's also because the lighting has come a long way
Yeah.
too. It used to be just kind of
Right.
set it and forget it. You have what you have.
Yeah.
Now you can.
It's green.
It's per
Yeah.
key,
Yeah.
customizable.
Yeah.
You can make it into this beautiful thing as kind of an extension and expression of yourself.
Yeah, the
which
profiles that you can
brings
download
it-
for
yeah.
We talked
kind
about
of elevates it.
our fans and
Mhm.
bringing software support to them. Or
Yeah.
you think you can do cool stuff with your profiles and your keyboard now?
Yeah.
Well, we're bringing those profiles to
Yeah.
your whole system.
Yeah.
And stuff.
And
Yeah,
that-
even
that
your
goes for-
fans.
yeah.
No, a year.
Wait. Lewis scripting on your fans.
So a year from now,
That's what I heard. It's gonna be
A
possible.
year from now,
Someone said it.
The RGB, the fans, the HD 120 RGBs,
Yeah.
which are individually addressable, as well as the internal LEDs in the case, which will eventually be individually addressable, along with your keyboard and your mouse and your headset, which Corsair sells will be individually addressable. You would conceivably have a profile that you can have the entire thing change color based on any program you want. And some guy is going to write some cool profile that we didn't even know was cool until we saw him post the YouTube video or the animated GIF of it. I mean, that's some of the stuff I've seen on K70 RGB. If you go to the profile section, or Strafe RGB, when you go to the profile section, there's some of these cool things like, every time a Marvel movie comes out, someone does like every Marvel superhero in like, here comes Captain America's shield under your keyboard, here's come Iron Man's head, and you're like, I didn't know I wanted that until some South Korean guy just developed it and threw it up on our page.
And that's kind of the strength of our community is we've got a lot of people that are making these really cool profiles.
You made this.
Good work.
Fantastic. Well done.
Slow clap.
A lot of these really cool profiles for our product. And in addition to that, we're also looking at ecosystem plays within our HID line where you're able to have, let's say, a K65 or K70 keyboard like you might have seen in our booth or our suite, as well as a Void headset, which is also RGB, and have them working together to do visualization of audio on the keyboard. So you couldn't just do that if you didn't have the Void headset.
But trust us when we tell you that it's blinking right, because when you're wearing it, you can't tell.
Right.
You can see on the keyboard.
Yeah.
But on the keyboard,
Yeah.
it's like
You just
you
feel really cool
visualize
for
it.
some reason. You're like,
Yeah.
why
Everyone's
do
got
I
a
feel so
mirror in front of
cool?
their head. And,
What happened?
Replace all your monitors with a mirror so you can see your LED headset.
Mirror surround.
I am so
RGB
awesome.
selfie mirrors.
Looking good.
Ooh, there we go.
dude, that's actually a
Nice.
patentable idea right now.
No, I
It's
think it's-
terrifying, but I think it's probably
The end of the human race is nigh.
I'm waiting for
One of the four horsemen of the apocalypse.
Is the RGB
Patented
selfie
selfie mirror. Yeah.
Oh, yes, RGB
Death,
you can
plague.
see
Yeah.
on the side of the mirror.
So I'm
We've
actually
gone too far.
I'm waiting for
Wise man rot.
What a time to be alive!
And he rode a pale horse, and it was taking a photo of itself in RGB.
What filter did he use?
I thought
Important, damn it.
The apocalypse will be.
the apocalypse filter. It was
No,
like,
the apocalypse will be
pestilence,
fabulous.
famine. I like the famine filter.
I'm gonna add more contrast.
Ooh, sepia thing.
Drama. Is there a button that says drama? Just push it.
But it does say drama. It's when they start banning RGB peripherals from esports because when you're shooting somebody in the game and suddenly your headset's lighting up, like wait, no, we can totally tell what's going on.
When
Well,
they outlaw
that's a
RGB,
simple
only
solution.
outlaws will have RGB. That's how I feel about it.
Hey,
Yeah.
but you can
The
turn the
wires
RGBs
of
off.
RGB.
though.
We're gonna start RGB running right now. Across the border.
Now, there's actually a lot of people arguing on the esports side about some of these things now because all these products are RGB and stuff like that, and it's programmable. And like even things like a lot of the esports setups for like CS:GO, they have the things where like don't have these guys anywhere near each other because the flashbang jokes where you can see which site a guy's on if you flash the site and you look over at the 5 guys sitting over there, and monitor 1 and 4 flash white and these guys turn away real quick, and you're like, oh, those 2 guys are on site B. And, I mean, so now the esports setups are even like planning for all this stuff. It's interesting to see like how are they going to bypass that, because it's anytime you try and outlaw something or ban something, there's just someone who's going to be a little bit more clever and find the way around
Figure it out.
Yeah, they go more underground. Pretty soon they'll be in the center of the earth fighting it out.
Liquid hot magma CSGO tournament.
Team A's on Team Magma and Team B's on the moon. Or something.
They can't see each other's
Deal with that ping.
Robot dogs walking around with video cameras in their eyes. The Russian team, no! I knew it was a spy dog.
This
You're
is
just
why
getting
we
run over
have
as
the
soon as they
rattle
release.
can spray paint memory, which is preparing you for the post-apocalyptic world where CSGO tournaments are played in the center of the earth.
How big is your tinfoil hat? Get them now on epicpants.com.
We keep joking about that, but there have been at least 6 really, really awesome designs that people have sent us where they found where you can get like an aluminum weave fabric, and we're like, you should make a hat out of this. And I'm going,
Would you guys buy a really high-quality aluminum foil hat if we put it on our website?
An
I
aluminum fedora.
would, just as a joke.
We'd have to sell an aluminium foil
like
to you.
a
Yeah.
beanie
I
cap.
need the extra
But it's
eye.
made out of like an aluminum.
I
Faraday
don't
cage.
want like a beanie cap, but I would totally buy an aluminum hat if it were like a sombrero or like a yarmulke.
I'm gonna fit an ad in here.
Fedora?
Would you guys
What about
buy?
a tricorn?
The fedora is the fedora. The trilby is
Conspiracy.
It's too milady. Like,
Conspiracy.
it's too, yeah.
You're getting the Sherlock Holmes hat. That's
Is
what's
there,
happening.
is there a
Yeah,
type
the
of
deerstalker
hat
cap.
called
Sherlock Homeboy.
Sherlock Homeboy.
It's my favorite rap artist.
That sounds like the worst, more reimagining of the Sherlock. And they've done this 30 times, right?
What? So,
You'd have to get someone in the
What,
camera
son?
badge.
I remember that.
Hey, white rap
What's
is
up,
cool.
Holmes?
yeah.
Just keep Cumberbatch in the role though.
Yeah. Just keep him and have him do 90s hip hop. Wearing MC Hammer
Solve the
pants
crimes in
and-
South Central.
Exactly. Him and Nate Dogg.
Well then, I've been doing an advertisement for our store. Go buy some mason jars and some t-shirts and some other products that are not conflicting with Corsair products.
Why do you
This
sell mason
transition was
jars?
jarring.
Are they
Huh?
craft mason jars?
You guys want to see our? You haven't seen our store?
What do you sell mason jars for?
Are they artisanal?
Look all
I believe you do.
Yeah,
I
we do.
just don't know why.
because people buy them.
Wow.
Yeah, okay, but is there something cool about mason jars I don't know about?
Yeah, they're really great for hippie bars.
Recycled Oregonian glass.
Anal stretching.
Or a goat. Oh, no, we don't want to talk about that video. Oh, God.
A 12-year-old
that
sent me
poor
that video.
man. That poor man. Oh, no.
Okay, I'm sitting home one
That
day.
whole YouTube video just flashed before my eyes. That poor guy.
If you know what we're talking about,
Oh, no.
Dude,
don't search for it.
We'd like to apologize because we're from the internet.
don't worry. A 12-year-old sent me that video with an LOL. I was like, "What's this?" And I clicked on it, and I was like, "I hate 12-year-olds."
So
I'm
many
also kind of
times.
horrified because I think that our CEO and COO may actually watch this video
No, they won't.
and ask me
Not
what
at this
did I
point.
mean.
We're
by
an hour into it.
Just
There's
send
no
them a
way
link.
they're watching this now. There's absolutely no way.
We'll stop
they're-
watching
send
about
them the
25
link.
minutes into this
Just
video.
send
Yeah.
them
Send them the link with the caption. There are some things you can't unsee.
Yeah, that's actually
Maybe we should get into mason jars.
the worst thing. Jesus. The worst thing is like every time I think I've
RGB
seen the
mason
worst thing
jars.
possible to see on the internet, someone proves me wrong. You know? Like,
Oh, yeah.
like,
Yeah, they tune you into us.
Yeah.
Does that thing really say Mr. Holmes on it?
no.
I feel kind of bad too because furlong is apparently a U.S. unit of measure.
Oh.
Really? Not for long. I think we should. I think we need to end the show now.
Furlongs actually break down into rods and chains.
Who doesn't?
I think I dated somebody who was in furlongs.
Conversation killer.
What are we going to rate this episode?
On a scale of 1 to.
I was going to say on like
Wait,
the,
are we gonna use
on the
imperial
MPAA.
metric? Yeah.
I think somewhere in long
We
this
have
we've
a- we
actually
rated-
moved to the 5th
rated-
worst
rated T
episode
for
we've
T.
No,
ever
we actually have a rating. Someone made us up a rating that's it's the full on, looks really fancy, and it's B for brusque. Yeah, this is quite brusque in body and whatever else.
Yeah,
May
yeah.
have to put that in
You'd
the
hear
video.
worse than any bar anywhere.
Yeah, if
Most
you're
of
hanging
our
out with
watchers
us.
aren't actually.
You certainly would.
Hanging out with us, yeah. Hang out with us at the bar, you'll hit worse. Bye. Corsair, thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For providing the
Thanks for coming out, guys. We appreciate it. It's always fun to see you guys. It's always fun to just hang out.
I am-
Yes.
I gotta say, I'm a little disappointed. Last year, you guys had a wall of products. This year, you gave us a barren
We
wall.
sold them all. We're tremendously
That's
successful.
it.
We're out of RGB keyboards, man.
Business is good, and we just had to sell all the products from everywhere.
Sorry, this looks successful then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing to do about it.
Darn.
That's right.
Really expensive
You just put
cost.
up. You're just quietly putting up the sponsorship payments for next year. Sold all your products, you say? Okay.
Can you raise the price a little bit? They're doing well. All right, guys. Let us know what you guys think in the comments about everything we talked about, and if you hate something, tell us that too. But on YouTube and on our website, tell us only good things on our website, because that's where we read the comments.
Yeah.
Please.
All right, see you guys later.